This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
So here is Dave Meltzer talking about WWE brainwashing. They're brainwashed, Brian. Actually, it's brainwashing. And I quote tweeted this and I was like, Meltzer needs to wash the hair dye out of the Just for Men out of his brain. And then some people were responding. They're like, he's not wrong here though, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I didn't say he's wrong. Why on Twitter everyone just add that doesn't need to be added? But the WWE brainwashing thing, it's just the way he phrases it, bro. People train their audiences. This happens everywhere, in every sport, in every television show. It's what you do, man. And it's not brainwashing about these random stats. Like Dave Meltzer spurgs out here about, to pretend like women and children didn't love wrestling before WWE. They don't say that. No one's saying that. You're just like adding that part. What WWE says is like, wrestling wasn't as popular and WWE made it into this global phenomenon. That's the truth. On a global scale, it wasn't as popular. Now, some people can say, it killed the territories and all that. I don't know about all that. It might have saved pro wrestling in general, because if they all started going downhill, someone else would have, if Vince didn't scoop them all up, someone else would have came up with the idea. You're just mad at like history playing out the way it played out. It's just silly, man. And this whole brainwashing bit, like, no, Dave's not right here, because he's not right in the head is the problem. And then he's trying to tell you, he's trying to project that onto you and his audience of dumb. I don't feel brainwashed. Tony Khan's sicko cult is the most brainwashed ever because it's disingenuous. And I don't even say that's necessarily brainwashed. It's just cultish. It's like now typically cults involve brainwashing, okay? To some degree, what would be labeled as that. But it's like, Dave, you got to get the out of here and stop with this nonsense. You're still triggered about Mania 3 and their attendance. And you're still triggered about how they changed history, but you don't get triggered when AEW lies about Wembley's attendance or when they do a AEW All Access show where they lie about their history. You don't keep the same energy. You're truly agenda-driven. And to sit there and criticize someone else for being agenda-driven, for this big global entertainment conglomerate to be agenda-driven, that like baffle you can't rack your brain around that one, Brian. When you're the same, it's just projection onto WWE now. Let's take a listen.
They've successfully brainwashed a lot of people about, the idea that wrestling was never popular before. And
it wasn't as, has WWE ever said wrestling it was never popular before us? I don't think they've ever said that. In fact, the opposite. They go, Ric Flair was the biggest star. We'll take it. What Vince did was he scooped up the biggest stars from every territory. Everybody explains it, whether they praise it or not. It's not a brainwash thing, Dave. You're trying to brainwash people. That's the problem. You've lulled a bunch of dumb into believing this shit. When your show glitches out and you switch over to your phone and shit, Dave, you're actually subliminally sending messages into their brains. The QR codes are mixing up with the chakras. And you're with people because, okay, did WWE lie about history in some DVDs? Yep. Is AEW going to do that in their book? And have they done it on reality shows and shit too? Yep. Would everybody lie about the history of what? Yep, it's a carny wrestling business. If WCW was around, they'd lie about it too a bit. If ECW's around, they all lie about how this and that. But they tell stories about ECW being kind of hotter than it was at some of the points in time there. Or even Heyman will say it was the number 2 next to WWE at one point over WCW. Like, I don't know, man. That seems like a fib. But are you mad at that? No, it's fucking pro wrestling, dude. It's a carny business. Like, what is Dave? The brainwashing? No, Dave, this is called just like working and training your audience and just controlling your own narrative, which is what you do for AEW, which is what Tony Khan does, which is what everybody fucking does for their brand. It's crazy.
Wrestling was never popular before. And, women never went to wrestling.
Where did anyone ever say women never went to wrestling? I want a quote. Chat, pull a quote. Where has anyone ever said women didn't go to wrestling before WWE?
Kids never went to wrestling.
Kids never went. Whoever said that? I don't believe anyone who's ever said that.
Families never went to wrestling.
Families never went. I'd never heard anyone ever say that.
And it's just like, oh my God, when I went to...
No, Dave, it's just that Hulk Hogan blew it up to a global to where families all over the globe know the name Hulk Hogan to this day. You can go to any country and say WWE or Hulk Hogan right now, and someone knows what the fuck you're talking about. Whereas before that, in the Mid-South when I was in the territories, Brian, yes, I get it. The Mid-South and Southern territories aren't greater than the planet of Earth.
When I went to wrestling for the first time when I was 11 years old, the place was swarming with kids. The myths of that Vince and these guys have created,
that you just made up in your head and then created to have a bunch of dumb fucks out there repeat this shit on the internet like it's fact.
About wrestling, it's unbelievable. It like blew my mind. Some of the questions that I was being asked just blew my mind.
Being asked by who, Dave? By your constituents? By normal, regular people on the outside who aren't in this fucking smart bubble that you think represents the audience at large that doesn't? You're condescending to real professionals who may have asked you real questions in the real world, or real sensible everyday folk, that you are an elitist, schmarmy, cocksucking, condescending, looking down at them. So again, I pointed this out here. Triple H lays out what happened with The Rock, the phone call on WWE Unreal. And so I just posted, see, The Rock and Dave Meltzer are liars. Rock lied in that McAfee interview. Meltzer lied because it was a day that ended in Y. One is a Hollywood actor with media training. The other pretends he's trained in the media and is presenting facts and news, both full of shit. Now, I like The Rock. I'm not trying to shit on The Rock, but I think he gets too much flack sometimes because realistically, he's made more bangers than not, I'd say, movie-wise. And Hollywood is unforgiving, you know? Much more unforgiving than wrestling and shit, but he was in on it like the whole goddamn time. So Rock just told a white lie on McAfee, and then Dave was like, oh yeah, I mean, he was reading The Observer when he was a kid, Brian. We covered that. Dewey Smart, he was like, you know, a kid reading The Observer. And I mean, he confirmed, Dwayne said it. He confirmed what I said. I told you. And everyone's like, you need to apologize to Meltzer for a broken clock being right, according to a liar Rock, that then is, if we're to believe this show. So then Rock's lying. He was lying to McAfee and I was right again. There you go, Dave. And I don't even care about being right like that, but because you do, it gives me great pleasure. Gives me great fucking pleasure. I also wrote this. The best is how Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez had a schmarmy, condescending, dumb fuck hissy fit about the iShow speed stuff being used in the trailer for WWE Unreal, scoffing at how phony it is, only for it to not be presented as real. It's just them setting up the bit. And then the bit, what they use, like the segment is them setting up the bit. The trailer that they put out there was the bit that was used on TV and at the Rumble. And Dave and fucking Brian, oh, this is the phoniest show ever, Brian. So speaking of phony, you know, Meltzer said, do the Oscars vote on best movie or do they just give it to the best box office? Hollywood and a movie that comes out once a year or every 4 years isn't the same thing as a weekly television live entertainment sports event product. Dave Meltzer, you stupid, dumb fucking idiot who, if you if you weren't too stubborn to study the business and tried Wagyu beef once in your life, you'd understand this. So he says box office is important, but by that argument, the most impressive is CMLL. He keeps trying to do this thing where CMLL's number one, if not AEW. They're partners. Since they run the same building 52 to 156 times a year, and WWE only runs places once or twice in a year. Dave, when WWE goes to one of these cities, they shift the economy. Mexico going to the same place, them reinvesting and going to the same place and having the same people pay over and over. It isn't as impressive as if they fucking went all over the world like WWE's doing and drawing these huge fucking stadium 2-night events, shifting the economy. It actually isn't. NXT sells out every week, the same fucking small building. Oh, but it's just a few people, Brian. I bet AEW couldn't do it if they just stayed in Chicago every week forever in this little building. Bet they couldn't do 1,000 every time. So Dave it's always like comparing it to Wagyu beef. It's always comparing it to Taylor Swift. It's always comparing it to everything that isn't wrestling. And then when he does compare it, he goes CMLL, since they run the same building and own Arena Mexico. And also, like, it's not like Mexico. And again, shout out, I fucking hot lucha summer, baby. But it's not like Mexico is a place also where like MMA fighters go to create fake stats about themselves and shit. It's happened a bunch. People have been called out. It's not like anyone's ever used Mexico as a fucking it's not like they couldn't paper a house there, and who are we to know any better? And it's just you reporting on it because you're a mark for CMLL and no one else gives a fuck in America. Like, how is that not the case? They didn't even fill out the AEW CMLL show. And Dave, you're talking about sellout, like setup sellouts. But then for WWE, you go, oh, well, it's not actually sold out. But then CMLL, you're like, oh, they sell out every time. Full pack to the rafters. But that's not the case either. And you know that. So it's just Dave, like, he doesn't study the business. He is not cultured. He doesn't study the world. He doesn't study Taylor Swift. He doesn't study Wagyu beef or Big Macs or anything he talks about. So Raj Giri says the Oscars also don't have people ruining it, talking about who should win the awards, or running it, talking about who should win the awards. Well, they do, kind of, but I mean, whatever. The best who's ever done it. Again, we talked about earlier, the ego of these fucking dirt sheet writers. They're the biggest hacks. Nobody takes them fucking seriously. And it's just, we're the best at what we do. We're the best in the world, Brian.
So in the on,
Meltzer said that recently. Fucking Sap said that to me on the phone. I'm the best in the world at what I do. Literally, that Dave Meltzer claims the same thing. Everyone, all of these writers just think they're the fucking shit. It's so gross. I love parodying it because some people don't get the bit, but at the end of the day, Phil don't miss. I'm the shit. $14.99 a month starting now. Yeah, just the seriousness of these folks when they're in like the most unserious part of entertainment, you know, covering it.
So in the Andre documentary, and this wasn't on the documentary itself, but I remember being told that they interviewed Vince about, you know, that whole story about, the night before this and all that, right? And Hogan had a story. And Vince
the night before this and all that, I have no idea what you're talking about.
The night before the WrestleMania match with Andre the Giant.
Okay.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan and
Jesus Christ. And so, yeah, Meltzer said what was quoting him, like, I'm the best, because we covered it on the member show. You guys got to be on the member show. But Dave was talking about, he's like, Brian, or if you saw the amount of work I put in on this stuff, you would know that I'm the best in the world at what I do. Literally on some shit like that. And then Meltzer broke it down. Meltzer said what, rather, broke it down. He pulled out the stopwatch and he's like, yo, he spent 30 minutes on Hogan and then like 38 minutes on Ospreay's injury and CMLL or whatever the fuck. Meanwhile, even Cornette, who roasts Hogan, roasted him for years, but he even did like a 2-hour tribute. There's so many good ones out there. Even like WrestlePod, who fucking hates Hogan. He's made like 4 documentaries. I hate Hulk Hogan. And then he even did one that was like, well, I hated him so much because I was such a Hulkster brother, you know. Dave Meltzer, the best in the world at what he does. Like Brian Alvarez. Let's listen to this one more time because Brian's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Brian's like, I'm trying over here.
Brian. So in the Andre documentary, and this wasn't on the documentary itself, but I remember being told that they interviewed Vince about, you know, that whole story about, the night before this and all that, right? And Hogan had a story. And Vince
the night before this and all that, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm the best. Bro, you suck at potting. You're not funny. You lie a bunch. And you fucking like are shitty on Twitter. So you're not even like a funny Twitter guy. And like are not even good at doing that because you just get owned all the time. So maybe that is good because you're just like a lol cow. And you're not like a good writer whatsoever. The motherfucker has the biggest run-on sentences of anybody ever who's ever written a fucking anything since people were drawing on caves, stick figures on caves and shit. So, like, what are you the best at, Dave? The this and the that before the this and the that? Because it's just in his head. Like, all this shit's in his head, and he has this bullshit argument that he can't properly explain because it's just something that he's stewing over, and so he skips over the details because he's running over it in his head, and he thinks everybody else is with him.
The night before this and all that, right? And Hogan had a story. And Vince
the night before this and all that, I have no idea what you're talking about.
The night before the WrestleMania match with Andre the Giant.
Okay.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. Silver.
And Brian's just like, who gives a fuck? Why are you still on about Hogan Andre? It was a work, bro. Like, we know. Why are you still on about that? Talk about All In, something that happened in the last decade. Tony worked those numbers. Talk about that. Everyone's retiring from fucking injury in AEW. Talk about that. Holy shit, man. This guy sucks. What a fucking hacky stinker. So WWE announcers are better. So actually, Dave Meltzer hits us with a smart moment of the week. And he puts over WWE's commentary and announcers and stuff. And it's just funny because he was just complaining about them not long ago. And then we roasted him for that. And we're like, no, dude, you don't understand. Vince isn't screaming in Cole's ear, and Tessitore's calling it like he calls real sports. And he has one of those voices that he brings more of a realism to it and this and that. Now Dave's saying all of this like 2 weeks after the commentary's so bad and they just give away the finish and then now they're putting over the announcers in the commentary. Like, what changed all of a sudden? Now, at least he's being based here, but I actually don't give Dave points because I think he's just flip-flopping around. Because, listen, whenever there is something to put over in WWE, he's just like, oh, yeah, it was what it is. But whenever it's like Teton versus Messiahs, I mean, the way they got to this is the best wrestling in the world, Brian. But instead of like glaze the commentary with the same passion. See, that's just it, Dave. You're inauthentic. Like, I bury shit with the same passion. Doesn't matter what company it is. And I've put shit over with the same passion. Doesn't matter what company it is. Not to make it fucking over here. But that's what compelling people do that I listen to. Just like someone, if you guys listen to Eric Bischoff, he fucking has never not given AEW more or different energy than he's willing to give WWE or any other company or any other situation when he talks about other topics that aren't involved in wrestling or whatever the fuck, or when he reviews old NWO shit and stuff. It's just Bischoff say you guys are just triggered by him being him. He kept the same energy with you guys. You just don't like that it's critical of your shit. That's all. So that's how all of us collectively can come together and go, you're being babies. Cornette doesn't go any more visceral on. If any wrestler, WWE or AEW, stuck fingers up a dude's ass and wrestled a blow-up doll and a little girl, he would have the same words for them forever. It wouldn't change. It's not just because it's Kenny and AEW. He was roasting Kenny way before AEW was a thing. So Dave Meltzer's incapable of doing that, and he doesn't that's why I don't give him points for this, because he was just trashing this shit that he's about to put over now all of a sudden. Or maybe, I was talking Raw that time and I'm talking SmackDown now. But you guys were talking WWE as a whole. And I know because I do this segment every fucking show. Okay? You talked about WWE's commentary. It's just their way and blah, blah, blah. And we went on this rant about, I went on this rant, but I was with the PWT universe. They were backing me up, goddammit. And we were talking about how, hey, because I'm chopping it up with chat the whole time, right? And I'm like, hey, they're just not clicking with it, and Vince isn't yelling in fucking Cole's ear anymore, and he's greatly improved since then. I think this is an outdated. We just went over this, and now they're flipping up their tune. Interesting.
Aldis announces the TLC match, but he doesn't say anything. He just says, there will be a TLC match, and then Joe Test just says, with all of them. So.
No, he caught him.
He did. This Joe Test is
great.
He is incredible.
And he instinctively knows what's going on as opposed to like being told ahead of time and then like having to figure out like.
Well, yeah, Vince were around yelling at this guy. Oh,
exactly.
He would not be Joe Test.
Carmelo Hayes does the Mistico. And
here's the fucking problem too. Oh yeah. Like Dave's still trying to be like, oh yeah, Michael Cole can't just feel it and shit. He's still trying to like do these old criticisms of WWE that just don't stick. He's still talking about WrestleMania 3 and shit. No one fucking cares, bro. Move on. Like, we're about to figure out that you own some of AEW, bro. You better fucking... The
best guys, Tony Khan.
Oh, my God, dude. For real.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
Wade Barrett calls it the Mistico. And I'm going like, oh, yeah, Vince doesn't work here anymore.
No shit. It's been like years. I thought you study the business. Oh, he called it La Mystica. And I'm like, oh, my God, Vince isn't here anymore. Wow, WWE's been really good lately. And Ospreay should work more of a WWE style, Brian. Wow, Dave. Holy shit. Way to come to your senses.
Because it's like, if Vince heard that, he'd blow a freaking gasket.
He'd blow a gasket, Brian, like I'm doing right now. He'd blow a gasket.
The best guy's Tony Khan.
Yeah, Vince isn't there, bro. We're all over Vince. No one cares. Okay, I just roasted his car accident that was nearly fatal for like 15 minutes, bro. No one gives a shit. He's not involved in wrestling anymore.
Mistico, and then
that makes the show better, calling it Mistico.
Go, well, that's the name of the move. And it's like,
wow, they said the name, and then he did a body slam, and he said body slam, and I was like, oh.
From who? Well, Mistico. Who's that? Who's that?
Oh my God, someone get me the end of this clip. I heard Mistico, and immediately I went, well, who did the Mistico? It couldn't have been Mistico. I was watching Raw, Brian. Well, it couldn't have been Mistico. Mistico return. Sin Cara.
The best guy's Tony Khan.
Oh my God, what a fucking mark, dude.
Fucking mark.
Who? I'm like, oh, who could it be? Who?
Joe Test.
Carmelo Hayes does the Mistico, and Wade Barrett calls it the Mistico. And I'm going like, oh yeah, Vince doesn't work here anymore. Because it's like,
oh yeah, I had to remember that after 4 years, and I study the business, and I'm the greatest in the world. And even though they've been calling a bunch of names and making puns about people's indie names, and they've been using real names of moves for a while now, because Vince has been gone for years, and now it's just dawned on me. I just racked my brain that there was more than meets the eye, Brian. Dave has fucking broke me, dude. What is going on, man?
If Vince heard that, he'd blow a freaking gasket. What's a Mistico? And then they would go, well, that's the name of the move. And it's like, from who? Well, Mistico. Who's that? Who's that?
Aldis announces the.
He's just imagining. It's like not a funny bit. Well, who's that? Is that Tony Khan? Are you trying to do Tony Khan, bro? Was that supposed to be Vince? Like, you're a hack, Dave.
Mistico.
Jesus Christ.
Who's that? Who's that?
That's a move from who? Mistico. No one backstage would go, yeah, Road Dogg's like, well, sir, it's Mistico. He'd be like, well, there's this Lucha Libre guy we fired, sir. Who's that? You're doing your fucking Tony Khan impression, dude.
Mistico. Who's that? Who's that?
Aldis announced.
What? Oh my God, dude.
Stupid idiot.
I don't even got anything else to say. That was just fucking hilarious and made my night, ladies and gentlemen. Truly, that was a spectacular Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the week.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.